firstly, I would like to thank the Speaker team for having me here and present my insights on the virtual networking or networking in virtual world because I've sensed that networking has always been a very interesting and important topic. Even in a typical B school or colleges, not many people teach you how you would typically network in the real world. And I felt it's all the more becoming a life skill. And I thought this is a great opportunity to showcase my own personal learnings and which will definitely be of some use to you. And I'm definitely open to hear more perspectives because it's a complete learning opportunity. Probably you guys have done anything very interesting on the networking front. I would be very keen to hear from you as well. So I'll try to keep this as much interactive in nature and we'll get started with this. Okay. Uh, I have to see the screen move. I'll probably keep doing it because I understand there could be some
Yes,
glitches
the
here.
slide is working.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be my typical presentation brief. I will set the context where the purpose and setting the context, and I'll move with presentation in the current or a pre-COVID era. I'll take it on to how networking is going to be in a post-COVID-19 scenario, and what does it take to be an effective virtual networker. And I will also give some examples of interesting network and affiliations, which will be more important to you. And I will also give some very high-level tips on using LinkedIn purposefully and how LinkedIn has been quite helpful for me in a very individual manner. And finally, I will take some Q&A here. I hope I'm clear with the key objectives here. I'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so this is a very, very interesting slide. Is everyone able to see the slide here? The Ikigai slide?
Yes, we could able to see it. So
Thank you. So this is a Japanese concept of which showcases the reason of being, and I'm sure with the entire COVID scenario, the last 3 4 months, again, social interaction has kind of reduced, and it's given a very new perspective and dimension to each of us on how life has been, how life could be, what is our passion, what is, what life has in store for us, and what is my personal area which I'm good at, what is the definition of career, what is a good profession, and which are the areas which there is a great real world need. What does the society want, and what is really important for the real world scenario? So, if you notice the entire spectrum, you see a very different Venn diagram here, and the center is what you'll be seeing here. This is what everyone aspires to be in. Unfortunately, we end up being in very different clusters. So, one, you have people who pursue their own passion, but they're not paid big time. And one, they would be pursuing on probably their passion, and then that's a very different take. And some who would be getting paid great salary, but they may not really love what they typically do. I mean, this is the reality. And finally, they will be working on an area which they like and be gainfully employed, but the society or the community needs something which is very different. So I think so. This is a very very pertinent slide, and I think this is a very basic question. I want you to introspect so that we will be spending a very meaningful life. So with that, in fact, there is a reason I also start with this particular slide because it will help you to understand what is your real passion, what is your career aspiration, what is it you really love to do, what is it you want to do for yourself, for your community at large, and for the world at large. So I think that's a very very important point. And finally, what is it you do which will also be helping you to be gainfully employed or probably monetarily successful. So I think that's a very very important point I want to set here. I will try to seamlessly connect these dots in the subsequent slides as well. Okay, so if you notice what has actually been happening in a pre-COVID-19 era, uh, you would have typically seen people meeting people individually or people meeting everyone in a very social setup where it could be a large congregation It could be like a office meeting, office setup, or it could be a business meeting. It could be a conference. It could be a trade show. It could be anything where you meet up with people at large. It could be a trade show. It could be a networking forum. It could be anything where you're going to be meeting up with people in a physical location. But if you notice what has actually happened over the last 3 to 4 months, uh, the world has become very topsy turvy. Where what's actually happened is the entire the set of virtual or the networking meetups have kind of stopped with social distancing and things in place. I'm sure that this is going to be the norm or new normal for the next a minimum of 3 to 6 months or even up to a year. So with that scenario being there, what is it you're going to be doing? In fact, if you notice the entire thing, we are actually moving to very different side of things because you would have seen what happens in all of these events, whether it's a trade show or it's a conference or it's an exhibition or an office meeting or a business meeting. Think about it. You may want to be pitching your product to your customer, and I think these things are not going to be happening anymore, or at least for the time frame I'm referring to. And finally, these conferences where you're going to be informing people at large on what your product is about or what your service is about. So I think all of these are taking a very, very different diagrammatic shift to it. So what does the new world looks like? And okay, so this is typically what is happening in a post-COVID virtual world. So I think it's a no-brainer that everyone is aware that the webinars are the norm for the day. In fact, even this kind of webinar which we are having, where around 50 or 100 people are here in this forum. And in fact, we would have loved to have the session in a nice AC setting with good snacks, some coffee, and have a very physical meetup. But just imagining it, or just looking at the current scheme of things, this doesn't look to happen anytime soon. And in this scenario, what is it which is more likely to happen? So, so if I would like to again take a couple of points on it. So, if you look at what's happening in this current scenario, attending webinars of your interest, I think this is something which is becoming a norm. And in such a scenario, one, what you could do is you could pick at attending these webinars or seminars which happen across the world. The biggest advantage has been you can sit in a place wherever you are and take up any of these sessions which happen across the world. But in parallel, all of these other things are also coming to prominence. So if I can put things across here very succinctly, do you have a active social media presence? And I will relate with it why you may want to do it. So if you specifically know people are looking to have very active presence in WhatsApp, I think that's already something which everyone is having. Facebook also is something which everyone is aware. So I'm not going to teach you anything new. Only thing is I'm trying to give a very, very different perspective to things. So if you notice the WhatsApp as well, if you are a business owner or if you are a person looking for something very different and looking to expand your digital footprint, I would urge you to focus on moving up from a typical WhatsApp, the normal account to WhatsApp for business. I think that could be a typical ask or typical point I'm stressing here. And coming to the Facebook account as well, I'm sure everyone here possibly has a Facebook account as well. You may want to look at considering creating a Facebook page or a business account here again. The reason being you get to see a very, very different set of business insights, which is not typically available or accessible in a very typical or a usual Facebook page. Instagram again has a very considerable, a business account which is very, very interesting and throws a lot of data back to you. And another thing I'm not too sure if everyone is aware of it, WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram, all of these have become one large entity or belong to the same company or an entity. So in such a scenario, all of them have kind of provided integrated solutions whereby you could use your advertisement or any kind of these campaigns to showcase your own presence in the social media. And if you are looking to be a top contributor in the written world, you may want to focus on both Quora as well as a Medium. So Quora, for those people who may not be aware of, it's a typical question answer platform where there are a lot of questions which are posed by users, and you being an expert panelist or you being an expert, you may want to give your perspective on that particular case. Coming to the medium, if you write a lot, so medium and blog go hand in hand. So many people may have a blog account, so you may want to focus on having your medium and blog go hand in hand together, where you can become a content creator. And trust me, content creation is becoming a big rage these days, where you could get yourself employed in the content space and contribute on that in a very big front as well. And GitHub is for techie. If in case in this forum we have some tech folks here, you may want to explore, becoming more active in the GitHub community. And podcast is another forum where you may want to focus if you want to showcase on your personal branding and also on your oratorical skills, where you may want to showcase yourself as an expert and become more active in that particular community. And lastly, the website is again a very, very potent idea if you want to establish a personal brand, a company, or an entity of your own and get that up and running. So I think these are typical ways by which you can do it. And lastly, LinkedIn is something which is coming to be a very, very powerful tool. Many people are kind of mistaken to be very similar to Facebook and are very trivial about it. I would say that LinkedIn has very powerful features and it's pretty good for students who are looking to do some internships or looking to get a break in the career space if you are a third or fourth year student and looking to do some projects, or if you want to get a job as well, it might be a good idea as well to look at, consider LinkedIn to a large extent. And for professionals, I think I'm sure you would already be aware of LinkedIn as a way by which you can connect with professionals or like-minded professionals or even people who can offer you a great job. And another thing which people miss out is for business owners, you have great way of connecting with people to generate leads, generate new business. This again is a very, very hidden medium. I mean, I wouldn't say it's hidden typically, but not many people are typically aware of. I think that's a particular point I do there. So these are typical ways by which you may want to focus, convert, and see how you could leverage on your own connecting with a virtual world. So there are some specific pointers I want to give. So in the subsequent slide, if there is any questions here until now, let me know. I'm more than happy to take it up right away, or I'm more than happy to take it up over the course of the discussion. So the moderator, if you can help me, if there's any question, I'm more than happy to take it up right now, or we can take it over the course of the discussion.
Sure, sir. As of now, we haven't received any questions. So as it comes, we can take it up, sir. So participant, meanwhile, if you have any question, please post this in the question box, which you're able to see on the left-hand side of your screen. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vignesh. Okay, so if you want to be a really good, effective virtual networker, you are going to be very, very attentive to what the person is going to be interacting with. So again, this is a very, very key skill. So it might be quite redundant, but I would like to pause here and see many times what happens. People communicate this, and you miss out on some areas. So here is a great opportunity where if in case you either not understood the concept, you can pause, ask the person. So again, this applies largely to even these kind of webinar sessions where if you're not aware or clear on a particular idea and concept, you could use that opportunity to leverage on it. And you may want to use this as an opportunity to connect or network with people subsequently. So here again, I'm just giving it as a specific cue here. So let's say you are attending any particular webinar or a topic of your own interest. If you are not here, or probably you understood a specific concept, but was too clear, you could use that to your own benefit. And if in case you're very, very clear and you like that concept and you applied it, when you're going to be connecting with that person or a community or a group of people, you may you may take that particular point and connect with the person and say that this was a particular idea or a viewpoint which was shared during a session, and it came handy to you, or it was something you tried deploying and it worked. I think these are some ways by which you could use to your benefit. So listening attentively is a very, very important point. Okay, I move on to the second point, which is remembering names. So many times people think, what is the sweetest word in the world? So just imagine you're walking down the road and suddenly someone says, hi, your name, and then wouldn't you be happy about it? Because many times people realize that if people remember you by your name, there's a higher possibility of you staying connected with them for eternity, or where there's a higher likelihood that you show positive vibes for that particular individual. So remembering names is a very, very powerful tool. This is something which you may want to leverage to your extent, to a larger extent. So this is again applicable in both a physical as well as virtual setup. And here again, when I say remembering names, so sometimes pronouncing names on the way a particular person's name is pronounced and spellings, because these days you're going to be sending emails and probably going to be typing names in a virtual format. So it's very important that are you going to be giving their names in the right format? Because just imagine someone is writing a message to you and the name is completely messed up. So you're going to be, even without looking at the content part, you're going to be very annoyed with that individual. So I think because you immediately come to a consensus that okay, this person is not at, or this person doesn't even observe things. So I think remembering names is very important, and like we said, the spelling also plays a very, very important role. So these might sound very, very trivial, but coming to the virtual world, people are going to be people are going to be looking and observing at these things in a very, very different fashion. Okay, so this is a very, very important point, and I thought I should spend some time here. So this is again relating with breaking your ice. And let's say you're going to be interacting with someone, and then you're going to be, connecting with some particular individual. You may so the first cardinal rule is avoid topics which may delve into sex, religion, politics. I think these are taboo topics, and better avoided, and better you avoid these topics. And coming to what kind of topics you may want to take for interactions, it's a good idea or a good best practice to focus on your work and responsibilities, skills and expertise, hobbies and special interest groups, achievements, experiences, and your personal midterm, short-term, or your long-term goals. I think this is something which is very, very important because you don't really want to rub people on the other side. So it's always better to avoid non-controversial and focus on the non-controversial topics or the simple topics which people can relate with. So here again, and so this is a very key area which people typically may go wrong with. So this is something which is very related with your the icebreaker, where when you're interacting with a person whom you've interacted for a very short while, or probably trying to reconnect with them. So it's always a good idea and best practice to focus on these areas and avoid the taboo topics which I did mention to you right now. And okay, so this following up on conversations is a very, very tactful thing. So let's say you have taken some time and effort towards interacting with individuals sometime a week back. So it's always a good idea to connect with them and follow on some interaction. Either if you promise something and are you going to be sharing some information back, or did you want some help or assistance from them? And you may want to just reach out and communicate back with them. So following up on conversations is something which is very, very important. And I would urge you that whenever you're connecting with people, do not say that you want some assistance immediately. So I would really urge you not to do it, because try to see what is it you may want to offer to the other person. Try to always give before you ask. Right? That's again a very, very basic point. I will okay. I'm moving on to the next slide, which is keeping up with promise. So this is a very, very pertinent point again. So let me give a very simple example. If you said that within 24 hours or 48 hours, you're going to be sharing a document with you, either on your company profile or your resume, if in case you are a student. So it's a good idea and best practice to keep up with your promise. It could be anything, but keeping up with that commitment is a very, very powerful tool, and it shows that you are up to speed. So it helps in bonding with that person and helps in that person remembering you. Okay, he said something and he delivered. So it's better to exceed the expectations on the minds of the person which we have, rather than missing or messing out on that. So here again, the reason why I stress here again is because it helps in creating the trust, credibility, and something which is because whenever you're looking to network with people, it's all about relationships. It's all about the bonding. It's all about the kind of personal brand you're establishing with that individual. So I would really consider these very very top notch when you're going to be connecting with people and staying with your commitments and promises. Okay, so this is again a very, very interesting point. Offer your knowledge or help. So, like we said, uh, never look at a person and see how you can extract or be very parasitic to an individual. See how you can offer your knowledge to help the other person. It might sound, I mean, a student may think, what can a student do? But offering your knowledge or offering what support you can offer in any kind of an interaction or discussion is much more powerful than being a person who acts as a recipient. So I'll give some specific examples on it at some point in time. Okay, so now you would have understood that the entire because of the virtual networking concept, there's a large concept of written communication, which is becoming all the more an essential skill. So because in a very physical setup, you can actually go interact with a person, and there is probably your non-verbal communications will rather speak for yourself. But in a written communication, I mean, your email happens to be the first point of contact, or your LinkedIn message will be your first point of contact. So it's very, very important and basic that you get your written communication up to speed. Like you said, it's a very, very essential skill because you may not get the opportunity to take the phone and speak with an individual. No, never. So it's going to be very, very important that what you write across to the individual. How are you going to communicate yourself? How are you going to be presenting yourself to the individual at the other side? These are very, very, I mean, becoming very, very critical. So, I mean, look at the names, look at spelling mistakes, look at grammar mistakes, look at some basic aspects so that you don't really make any of these silly mistakes, especially in the initial part of network building. So, be very, very tactful about it. Be very, very careful about it. And okay, so like I said, the next 3 months, 6 months, or even the last next 1 year, using virtual tools are becoming all the more imperative. So here, you may wonder, and I say virtual tools. Uh, so here we are sitting here in a Zoho Showtime session, but I'm sure these sessions are just. I mean, there are very many platforms. So are we ready to take up any kind of platforms? So in a Zoom call, are we going to be comfortable? In a Google meeting, are we going to be comfortable? In a GoTo meeting, are we going to be comfortable? In a Microsoft Teams, are we going to be comfortable? So I think it's very, very important that we become aware of the virtual tools available in the market and also take to it. And trust me, I think the days and months ahead are going to be all the more challenging, where more and more newer tools are going to be built up, and it could be some marketing automation tools, or it could be some more interesting tools. In fact, we are also looking at potentially XR or audio, I mean, the augmented reality and virtual reality tools, which might be coming in the future as well. So the main point here coming again is, are we ready to take up or adopt to newer technologies at hand? I think that's a very, very important thing, because tomorrow, if you are going to be making a presentation, if you're going to be making a pitch to your potential client, if you're going to be making a business interaction, or if in case you're going to be giving an interview, how comfortable are you in a virtual setup? I think it's a very, very important tool, and I would strongly suggest that you get to speed on these areas, because as a participant you might be comfortable, but as a presenter, are you even comfortable? So I think these are again some pointers I leave with you, so that you can be much more impactful in the way you communicate. So I'm coming back to summarizing the key points which I did mention. And here I'm again leaving with a specific point here. Remember, it's always about giving. So I know that there will always be a selfish motive when you're going to be reaching out to an individual. But trust me, the first thing is, what kind of benefit or what kind of support can you offer to the individual on the other side? I think that's a very, very important point. So, like you said, reiterating the point again, while each of these points are very, very important, I'm trying to reiterate the point again. It's always about giving than receiving. I'll move on to some more slides on it next. Okay, so these are some more interesting tools. I've already mentioned LinkedIn is again a very interesting tool. Zing is another interesting tool. I think it's used largely out of India, not in India, but across different parts of Europe. So, and Zoom Info also is another company which has some very interesting areas, especially in the European markets. And Meetup is again coming to be a very interesting product. And within Facebook and LinkedIn, I thought I should spend some more time on it. I'm sure you are already aware of these. If you're not aware, you may want to look at it, because LinkedIn groups is a very, very powerful thing. Because while I see many people are aware of the just the basic of Facebook and LinkedIn, you may want to look at these community groups, because these groups offer you a great opportunity to stay connected with the community. So let's say you are a data scientist, or you are someone focusing on a new age tech solution. So you may want to look at groups or community groups which are already available in these platforms, and these provide great opportunities for you to connect with people across the world. So I think that's the part of it. So which means you may be sitting here and you can still network with people who's sitting in the US or probably in completely other time zones. And trust me, these are once you showcase yourself to be an expert, or once you showcase you are an avid learner, a lot of people are definitely keen to give back. So like you said, the first step is about entering the community, and then there again, I wouldn't say that you go there and then ask for a job or something. I mean, that's not the intent there. Just go there and showcase yourself as an individual who's looking to share more of your knowledge, or looking to learn, or looking to give back to the community. I think these are the three things which I would like to give here as a thought. And I'm sure once you keep doing it, people are going to come back to you. People are going to be looking at you as a thought leader. People are going to be looking at you as a person who's very passionate about this subject. So I think I leave that as an experiment for you to work on. I will give some more pointers on some specific examples which I have been doing on a very, very personal note. Just to give some more idea on how I have been trying to extend my business, or I wouldn't say a business typically. I would extend my network for personal or professional reasons. Okay, so here you can see the educational affiliations. You can see that I'm a product of Bitspilani. I'm an alumni of Bitspilani, and I have studied from Santama High School. I think these are two areas I've kind of studied both from my school and college life, and from my active participation. So though I passed out of the community, so though it's been almost 20, 25 years since I passed out from school and college, how do I still retain connect with it? So I'm quite active in the school connect as well, where I manage the school old boys association. And coming to the BITS network as well, I handle the alumni relations chapter, where I help in the BITS alum associations, or the alumni connecting within Chennai, and also handle the international community. So where I support in people connecting with each other. So the important point here is, though you may have stepped out of the community, how active are you giving back? How active are you still connected with your alma mater? I think that's a very, very important point. So the key here, or the essence here is, how engaged are you? So what is it? What kind of role or activity can you do to help the community back? So I think that's a simple example I thought I'll just share with. Okay, so these are my professional affiliations. So when I say professional affiliations, so these are the very kind of companies I've worked over the last 15 years. And interestingly, you may ask, okay, now that I've stepped out of the company, what's so special about it? So in each of these companies, I still am very active in the alumni network of these institutions. For a simple example, JP Morgan, Frost & Sullivan, Accenture, these three have very, very strong alumni relations. So when I say alumni, so any person who works with all of these institutions, they make it a point to stay connected with people, though they have moved on from the company. So here again, the reason I'm giving this as a important tool is, you never know. So it's possible that you may want to go back to the company again. It's possible. So I would strongly urge you stay connected with your last, or your last employed community as well. And coming to the Boombox and Bharat, I think these are again some interesting cases where I still am quite kind of connected with them. In fact, Boombox was the last company I worked with, but still I'm kind of connected with them, where wherever they require some kind of support, I step in, step out in terms of consulting opportunities or some projects which they may have. And I'm connected largely with the management team as well, and I keep helping them if in case they require any kind of support as well. So that's on a very very personal goodwill, because I've had very good times working with the company, and I thought I should help them out in terms of their daily needs. So I think that's the point. And Butterfly is a very very interesting scenario. So although it's been almost 7 8 years I've stepped out of the company, here again I've been connecting with some very interesting people across the company, and you wouldn't believe it. The Butterfly is a very good example of. Though I've stepped up the Bharati between almost 5 or even 6 years, they make it a point to send me their marketing yearbook, or the calendar every year. So they don't really have any obligation, but then they make it a point. So they recognize me or they appreciate me. I think these are very very simple ways by which companies have a very long lasting relationship with, or want to maintain a relationship with individuals or employees or past employees. And from my own gesture, what I do is I also make it a point to connect with my ex-boss or the people whom I'm connected with, the managing partners, and help them in whatever way they may want. It could be on very, very simple activities, but then I make it a point and stay connected with them once in a while. I think these are some very, very simple examples, and Winfriends is the current company I'm associated with. And I'm more on the next slide. So these are the industry affiliations. So, industry affiliations are great opportunities. If you are an active member, so you may want to be a participant on learning as many things about, uh, coming to speed on very many things. And for instance, a simple example I can give is MMA, the Madras Management Association, has been giving a whole lot of interesting sessions or knowledge sessions over the last few months. Even despite the lockdown, they've been giving very, very interesting sessions. So if you're not a member, you may want to step in there. So that's a very simple example. And so Malaysian Institute of Management is again one entity which I've been part of, and not been too active, but I step in. I have been engaged with them as well. So coming to the MMA, you can see that while the last I've been a member with MMA for the last 7 years, and in recent times, the last 2 years, I've been more active in the way I contribute back to the system. So I've been an empanel trainer, so I contribute in terms of handling workshops, sessions. I step in as a facilitator, and I do some knowledge sessions with them. And I also help in as a panelist or a jury member for these sessions as well. So I think these are very very powerful ways. So the point I'm trying to make here is there are a lot of industry bodies which are very powerful. You may want to leverage on what. So here again, I'm not saying that. So the first step is you will end up being a very passive member, which is good, which is completely good. But as the next step, how are you going to be coming? How are you going to be contributing back? How are you going to be giving back to the society, or how are you going to give back to the community? And the last thing, the PSAI, which is the Professional Speakers Association of India. So the last year or so, I've been focusing myself on becoming a professional speaker, and this is a community which I'm active with in recent times. And I've been quite active in the Chennai chapter, and I'm taking up some XCOM role as a sergeant at arms. I move on to the next slide. So this is the consulting network or the business partners. So here again, so since I've been working on very different dimensions, I have been maintaining very close partnerships. You can see that Skillcraft is one of my preferred partners, and you can see NCMF and ARA and Infosys. I think these are again some very interesting professional people and business partners whom I keep engaging with, and I maintain great relationships with them. So I think, like I said, coming back to it, it's always about what you can offer to them rather than what you can extract. So I think giving back is something which will run through every part of your relationship building process. And this is on the community network part. So here again, there's a whole lot of world out there. So many times people feel that okay, this is a virtual thing, you can't meet up with people. No, it doesn't work that way, because there is a lot of people are moving towards the virtual world. So let me give a some more simple examples. These are some NGOs. So if you relate back with the first slide which I showcased on the Ikigai, so beyond the what you do, or beyond what gives you money, beyond what gives you mental peace, or beyond what gives you your own passion. So there are things where you can do something. You can give back to the community as well. So according to me, these are some NGOs which I'm associated with, and here there is completely no transaction on a money front. So to reiterate the point, so it's all about you giving back to the society. So Project Putri is an initiative where it's about empowering the girl child. So I step in as a career coach or a master trainer there. So on a complete pro bono basis. Colors of Glory is a foundation which is to help people understand more about the military heritage. So here I step in as a digital expert and help them with organizing a quiz for it. So this is again another interesting case. And Chennai Tech Club is another interesting forum, a WhatsApp forum, which will help in engaging you with a lot of tech communities or knowing more about that particular space. And this is Katha and Ratha, which is more on the storytelling concept. And finally, which is the Toastmasters community or the Toastmasters International. I'm sure some of you are already aware of it. So where you become a better speaker or the better public speaker. So I think these are again ways and means by which you could take up some interesting roles. So here again, if you notice, while I know that I am a person who's looking to improve myself every day, I also am trying to see how I can give back to the community where I play the role of a vice president membership. And so where I beyond me taking value from becoming a better speaker or a better individual, how can I build a community in a better way? So there are a whole lot of things you can focus on the community work. And yeah, so I think this is one last interesting slide. I thought I'd leave you as a point of thought. So you can read it for yourself, but I'll read it for the benefit of the audience here. So become friends with people who aren't your age. Hang out with people whose first language isn't the same as yours. Get to know someone who doesn't come from your social class. This is how you see the world. This is how you grow. So a simple message here is what happens is within a particular forum, we tend to interact with people of a particular age. So I think that's again a very self-limiting point or an attribute. You may want to interact with people 10 years your senior or 10 years your junior. You'll get very different dimensions. And on the language part, I think if you get to interact with people on very diverse fronts, you get to learn, unlearn, relearn. I think these are very, very interesting points. And finally, on the social class, you get to see things from a very, very different spectrum, which you otherwise thought never existed. So it completely opens up your mind. And I would just want to start with the LinkedIn because, like I said, LinkedIn is a very, very powerful tool. I thought I know time is not going to be sufficient enough. I'll just give some very, very simple points and giving you some pointers on why you should be really keen on LinkedIn as a tool. Since I said it's quite essential. So I think this again, I wouldn't want to do much of boasting here, but these are some very interesting or real life cases on how LinkedIn is something which I have personally leveraged for myself. You can see that you can focus on your business partnerships or collaboration because there's a whole lot of people out there. And LinkedIn groups is something where you can reach out to people of your area and expertise. And this is something which has happened for me where recruiters have reached out to me and they were offering jobs to me. And how can you focus on anything else? You can actually focus on your LinkedIn articles, posts, and videos to establish your own personal brand. So this again is something you can focus on, and you can again connect with people. Here again, I'm not saying that you have to do it for your professional purpose. It's a good exercise where you want to first, connect back with people for a larger extent. And lastly, I'll just give some more examples on why LinkedIn and probably give it open for the questions. So this is the reason why I'm saying it's very, very powerful. So LinkedIn, if you notice, it was acquired by Microsoft in 2016, and it's an exclusive social platform for professionals. And for students who think that LinkedIn and Facebook are very similar, no, LinkedIn is not Facebook. It's exclusively for professionals and something which you may want to really look to see how you can leverage on it. And here again, some data points for you. There are 690 million people. That's like crazy numbers. And you can see that around out of people are there across 150 countries, and LinkedIn is available in 24 languages. I think that's the part which I was telling about. And some more data points if you're not fascinated enough. So these 122 million users got job interviews through LinkedIn. And okay, this is a very interesting trivia point, and I thought I should share it here. Australia, out of 12 million working professionals, 10 million are already on LinkedIn. I think that's a very, very interesting point. So, lastly, I want to again leave a point saying that LinkedIn is coming to be a gold standard coming to for recruiters or for recruitment. While there are other forums or platforms like your Monster, Naukri, and whatnot, a lot of recruiters are banking on LinkedIn to pick people. And in India, it's still up and coming, but still, I mean, there's a lot of change which is coming through. So I think that's about the time I may have. I will be more than happy to take up some questions from here.
Uh, Thank you, sir. We have a few questions lined up. So
Sure,
this is
sure.
from Mr. Ayanar Akusami. So he's asking about how far all this virtual networking going to give or going to make impact on agriculture industries, like like farming, especially people from villages. So he's talking about how this is going to help them, like virtual networking.
Okay, that's a very, very different question. I don't know whether I can answer it, but still, let me give it a shot. It really depends. I mean, probably, can he unmute and talk, or can he clarify a bit more? Because I'd like to know when he says agriculture, it's a very, very different volume. So, is he like a producer, or is he what is he looking to do? Because if he's looking to, I mean, I'll probably take it from here. If he says that he is a producer in and looking to sell his produce, he can definitely consider that. Where a lot of these online companies are there, and they are looking to onboard people. So a simple example is they can reach out to the online or the e-commerce companies and see if his products can be sold through the online platform. I mean, that's a very, very simple use case. Or if he says that he wants to reach directly to the consumer sitting in Chennai or sitting in a village, sorry, sitting in a city, he can again use that as a potential network. I think there are some very interesting companies which are already been doing it, where they build. So there is again a concept of people who are looking for organic produce. So what you typically would want to do is, so I'm assuming that Mr. Akusami is sitting in a village and is looking to build his brand and produce. So I would imagine that the first thing is he can look to create a website on his own, or I mean, doesn't need a website typically. He can actually step on to creating a Facebook group and then say that he is doing an organic produce fresh from the farms, and then look at identifying who are the great people in the city or nearest town who are looking to consume these products. So once he gets a good traction of these people, he is in effect going to be selling it directly to these potential customers. I mean, if that was the question, I'm thinking that would have addressed. Or if in case he's looking at selling to some international markets, then I would propose that he can step into a professional network like LinkedIn and see who are the people who are buying these produce. So I'm sure you would have already been aware of the typical export marketers. So he can reach out to the direct decision makers, whether the buyers of these produce, and connect with them and seamlessly expand his market. So I think anything is possible in these spaces. And to address the logistics or the last mile solutions, again, there is a whole lot of companies coming out, and I mean, whether it's your Porter or your Link or any of these companies, they help in solving your logistics or last mile solutions. I hope that helps you.
Great, sir. Another question from Mr. Murugavel. So he's asking, while networking in physical world is hardly, it's hardly make any difference. So how is going to be a virtual networking? How is going to unique compared to the physical networking? So what are chances that it can be in a better way?
Okay, so in a physical setup, you are actually knowing. I mean, you're looking at the person in flesh and blood. That's a very, very powerful thing. You can get to see the non-verbal communication. So let's say if I'm going to be switching off the camera, you're not going to be knowing how. I mean, you're not going to be seeing my emotions, and all the more me as a presenter in this platform, I'm not even able to see the people who are listening to the discussion. So I'm not too sure how many people are very actively listening, how many people are satisfied with what you've learned, how many people have great idea about listening to this. Because just imagine if I were doing the same presentation in a physical setup, I would have known that okay, 50 or 100 people are there in front of me, and from the gestures or from the body language, I'll be able to know either am I doing something right? Is the audience with me? And I can also understand if the audience is confused. I can get to see that from the eyebrows, the raised eyebrows. All of those are missing for me. So as an individual, I see that very, very limiting factor. But like you said, in a virtual forum, the advantage is in a session like this, I can typically do networking like almost 100 or 200 people, which is typically not possible in a physical setup. So I would say while there are pros and cons in a virtual and a physical network, I mean, we take each of these with pinch of salt. So here there is no right and wrong answer. Like I said, the only difference is in a virtual setup, you get to see. I mean, you get to interact with people at large. So here, while I'm delivering a session from Chennai, if there is a person sitting from US, so he's going to be there and learning from. I mean, and I'm going to be interacting with that person as well, which is not going to happen in a physical setup. So I think each of these has its own pros and cons. And with, like I said, with while I'm also a very firm believer of physical networking. But with the COVID situation, the next 3 to 6 months or 8 months are going to be very challenging. I hope, Mugwel, I answered that particular question to your satisfaction there, Mugwel.
Yes, sir. So far, I guess it should be answered. I haven't replied yet. So, yeah. So, we have another question from Sujata Chandrasekharan. It is, how do you informally talk or introduce your business in a relatively new group, or a kind of a strange group, unknown groups? So she's asking how we can able to interact with those people in strange.
Okay, so it's a very, very pertinent point, so I would say it depends on what the forum wants. So I will take some couple of scenarios. So if it's a forum which you're connected with, you could share it very easily that you are launching a product or service, and this is something you're very passionate about, and that's something which you can very easily do in an open community. And since you mentioned here, it's a new group, or it's a group that you're not comfortable with. So the first question I would see is, what is that group's dimension? What is the audience in the group? What is that for? I mean, who are the audience there? So the very important point here is, what is your value addition in that group? So you will have to see very tactfully put across how you will communicate your product and service and solution, so that it doesn't look like a pitch for your solution. So I mean, you will try to pitch in your product such that you are actually solving a problem for them. You understand their pain points, and you're going to be giving a solution for them. I think that is how your approach should be in a relatively different group, or in a group which is something which is completely new to you. So I would strongly suggest that do not go bang on opening yourself on your brand or service or solutions. It will not be appreciated in such forums anyways. But always look at possibilities, because in these forums as well, they may have some ways by which they say, if you are a new member, would you like to introduce yourself? I think these are things these communities keep doing. So you may want to use that to your benefit, and that time you want to open up, where you will say that this is what you do, blah blah blah. Share all of your details as much as possible and keep it simple. So like you said, be very, very watchful about when you open up. If there are open areas or open sessions which they throw opportunities with, great, latch onto it immediately. And in otherwise, be very, very thoughtful about when you deal it. And coming to another point, since you asked that particular question, Quora is a great opportunity. You may want to look at, because Quora, a lot of people keep asking for questions, or they say that in this situation, what do I do? So that's exactly where you may want to pitch in your solution. So sometimes, I mean, people are always on the lookout for a particular solution. So and people from across the world keep coming there. So once you see a very, very interesting topic related with your service offering or solution offering, once you see that, there again, you will give a solution approach. You will not, I mean, while you are actually going to be promoting your brand and product and solution, you will try to understand, you will empathize with that individual, and finally come out with your solution approach. So I think that's something you may want to do, Sujata. So I'm hoping that will help you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So next question is from Girish. So he's like bang on the target. So his question is, what is effective way or method to find a job through LinkedIn?
Okay, Girish, I'm assuming that you are a student, or so. Girish, can you again clarify? Are you a student or are you a professional looking for a job? You can clarify.
Okay, Girish, could you please type on the chat?
Okay, not a problem. I'll take it. I'll assume that Girish is a fresher and probably looking for the first grade. Okay. I'll try to answer that there.
Okay.
Unless there is an update from Girish. So Girish, the first thing which people miss out is LinkedIn has a concept of getting your profile right. Or many times there is a data point which says only 50% of people have their LinkedIn profile completed. When I say completed, Okay, maybe if people, all of you are already comfortable with the LinkedIn as a product, you know that the LinkedIn provides a rating or a ranking. It says that what is the level of your profile. It says whether you're a basic level user, or are you a introductory user, or are you an intermediate user, are are you an advanced user, or are you an all-star profile. So finally, LinkedIn has a concept of all-star profile. So I think all-star profile is something which you have to aspire, where LinkedIn has certain questions which are either mandatory, or you have to achieve certain milestones. For instance, do you have a LinkedIn photo? I mean, in your profile. I think that's a very basic thing LinkedIn asks. And do you have as many details in the LinkedIn completed? So do you have your past working environment, or your past roles where you studied, and is your profile complete? And it also says, do you have a minimum of 30 or 50 people in your LinkedIn network? I think these are basic ways by which you have your LinkedIn profile completed. The reason I'm spending all of these here on the LinkedIn profile completion is LinkedIn has these ways by which they extend your profile visibility quotient. So there is algorithm which drives in it. And coming to how you reach out to people, like I said, LinkedIn has its own community and the groups. You may want to, if in case you're looking for jobs in a particular area, industry vertical, or I mean, there are very many ways. Probably, for instance, I'll give a simple example. If you are a data scientist, or machine learning, or you want to focus on AI, or I mean, there are different groups which exist in LinkedIn which you may want to be part of. And there are also jobs in India, or career. So it's, I mean, very similar to your Google searches. Keywords play a very, very important role. So look at the hashtags, look at the keywords, look at the groups you may want to be part of. So in this particular scenario, you are looking for a job. So the keywords you will have to be watchful about is jobs, careers, opportunities, internships. I mean, you will have to keep blending on all of these and keep going through it. And then you will have to see to what extent is your profile completed. In the profile, would you want to share something more about you? So I think these are some very, very specific points. In fact, coming to LinkedIn, I can actually go on for hours and hours together, because it's a very, very interesting subject which I am very, very passionate about. So I'll stop here. And one more thing which I would like to give you as a tool to check out is there is a concept of hash, which is hashtags or the meta tags. You may also want to follow up all these hashtags. And since you said you're looking for jobs, you may want to look at hash careers, hash jobs India. I mean, you will get to see the number of followers, number of people who are following it, and very similar to your Facebook feeds, your LinkedIn feeds also will change on the basis of the tags and the communities which you join. So, which means if you are a person looking to join, looking for a job in a specific domain, you will get something which is very different and very specific to yourself when compared to a person just sitting beside you and who's not adopted to each of these. So here again, Girish, I would love to share as much of it. That's again a very high level overview, but I can keep on, and I'm sure this.
So in fact, to continuation with Mr. Girish question, so it seems that he has 20 years of experience. So he's asking how to find the ratings on the LinkedIn. So as you rightly said, so this is going to be elaborate.
Yeah, so Girish, maybe I think here again I will not be able to showcase now. Probably I'll take this offline and I'll show it to you, so that should not be
okay.
So in the profile section you can find it there. So it should not be a problem. So Girish, again on the 20 years point, I understand that you have 20 years is a great rich experience. So you may want to focus on recommendations, getting recommendations from people or places where you've worked. I think these are great ways, because people are looking at LinkedIn as a first level of check for recruiting. So while you may share your resume, people are looking to see what is your link, or what is your LinkedIn profile say about you. So you may want to get your LinkedIn profile up to speed. So that is one specific point. And like I said, look at recommendations and look at the areas where you're strong on. So you may want to pick recommendations from your past employers. So it increases your credibility and chances of you getting a better job. And like I said, LinkedIn also has its own premium package where you can take the LinkedIn mail and send messages to HR professionals directly. I think these are other ways by which you can reach out to HR professionals. Obviously, it's a paid affair. You will have to get some money into it, but it might just be worth it. So I'm hoping that helps you. Girish, like I said, I'm more than happy to take some more questions offline, but for the benefit of the audience here, I will have to pause here.
All right, sir. So we have another question. Since it's if it's okay, we can go with it, or else we can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
So this is from Mr. Gurumurthy. So he has asked, how would the freshers get job in this pandemic situation? So it's similar, like how do they network? How do they find job?
So this is a very, very interesting point again. But like we said, another thing which is also happening in parallel is there are some more newer, interesting companies which are coming out as well. Some new age companies, some companies offering internships, or where you could, you could take up internship roles, which could typically get translated to a job for you. So I would suggest that while these are testing times, you may really want to focus on areas where you are pretty strong on. I can typically understand. I mean, as a fresher, it's going to be very, very challenging. But like I said, even as a fresher, you may have accomplished certain things. You may have completed certain things. You may have done something in your college. You may have participated in an event. You would have taken up some leadership roles. You would have been part of some clubs. You would have been part of some associations. I think you may want to draw some strengths from you and make your profile, sharper. So I think here the question is all about how are you going to be, establishing your personal brand. I think that's a question which comes down again. How are you going to be differentiating yourself in the clutter? How are you going to be making yourself look very distinctive in this, highly networked world? So, which is where, depending on your area of or skill, you may want to again, any which ways, in these days and age, there's a whole lot of online training opportunities. So you may want to, let's say you either take up any the open source courses like Coursera or Udemy, or even any sessions or workshops like Skillcraft does. So you can typically go about showcasing these as accomplishments in the LinkedIn profiles, and also showcase these as LinkedIn posts. You can write LinkedIn articles. What have you learned, and how effectively have you been able to contribute? I think it's all about getting your personal branding up and running, and showcasing your area of strength, and getting up to speed. So, like I said, how active are you on this particular space? And like I said, I completely understand it's tough times, but coming back to it, how can you draw your strengths, and how can you make yourself look very different, and look for opportunities, look for virtual opportunities. A lot of companies are offering interns or internship roles, and I think the world is the limit. And in fact, many times there are companies, when you step into a virtual or intern role, they may effectively get converted to permanent roles as well if you're lucky enough and committed enough. I'm hoping that kind of answers your question there, Gurumukhi.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
All right, sir. So I guess the questions are, that's all for the questions now. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing the insights. It was in fact great indeed to to know about all this, the way how we can able to virtually network and get connected with many people. In fact, a few of us are more aware about the meme page in Facebook and Instagram, how to like them and how to share, click likes on random pictures. But this is very insightful. In fact, the word you thought about, you gave us how to give back to the community, how to get back with the college community in Facebook or other pages. It's very inspiring. In fact, I want to take this note and want to share with our audience an announcement that we in Skillcraft are looking for students, interns who will be associated with us for digital marketing as well as customer relationship profile. So this is something like give back to the community for our audience. So this is very inspiring for us. So I just want to give an announcement right away with it.
That's lovely. In fact, I think that's a great thing to do. I know whether you have taken inspiration, but I'm extremely happy that companies like you are providing such opportunities for people, because these are tough times, and it really makes a big difference if we can do something for people. So I think that's something which I'm extremely glad and thankful that in this forum, in this session, you're opening this up, and you're giving an opportunity for students to leverage and benefit from.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Zed. So it's for your inspiring words. Thank you so much. So again, thank you all for being a wonderful audience. And for those students, intern who want to kind of be associated with us for our digital marketing as well as social media campaigns, you can write us your profile and your mail to aim@skillcraftconsulting.com. For more details, you can also reach us at 98405 77043. So thank you all for being a wonderful audience, and you guys always inspire us to deliver better in our webinars. So till next webinar, this is Vignesh signing off. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for being today with us.